Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff.
Welcome back to Fandom Family Chats. I'm Amanda.
I'm Eve.
And tonight we are talking about Station 19 and Grey's Anatomy. Amanda's favorite night. Yay. So,
aside from the drama at the end, it was a funny episode. I
don't think I have ever said this like in a history, because everybody knows I'm way more Grey's Anatomy fan than I am Station 19 fan. I enjoyed Station 19 more than I did Grey's this week, which surprised me.
They've been right on level with each other for me this season.
Yeah.
But I was a bit more into Station 19 this week.
I don't know, it was more drama packed. Like, I mean, there was like actually like stuff happening, which it did make me cry this week. But I first want to start off with happier stuff, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty of the bad stuff. So let's start off with Travis's election, because I'm actually starting to feel like he can become mayor.
Yeah, I'm really nervous for him because he just ran to basically get his message out there and, screw with Dick.
Yeah.
And now I'm really nervous for him because he might actually win and then he'll have to be mayor.
I'm like, holy mo, like, but he was rocking it. I mean, it was a little bit of a rough start, but by the end he was rocking it.
He was into it, like he was hanging out on the couch. He's like, yeah. So I'm like, okay. So
I thought Eli was just, his brain was gonna burst. It's like, oh my gosh. Shut up. I think it's so refreshing though that, somebody in politics is just spitting off the honest to God truth and not just trying to get votes to get votes. I think he did a little bit, but I think in all, he was just speaking his truth and, whatever he believed. It was a breath of fresh air. I liked it.
I mean, he was wording things in a way that sounded a lot fancier than Travis usually speaks. But, that's kind of what you have to do in politics. You can't just like stumble over your words and be like, I kind of think that, this would be a good idea because, that's what I would do.
That would be me in politics. I'm like, man, what do you guys think?
Like, well,
I'd be the worst.
What do you guys think? Is that a good idea? No, that's a bad idea. Never mind. Scratch
no,
that.
Bad idea. Okay, we won't do that.
I have no backbone. At me. I won't do that. Never mind.
I might. You guys might think I have a backbone. I really don't have much one. Anyways, they're using Andy's apartment, which I thought was really sweet. I'm really into Eli and Andy, and I really want them together. And after this week, I think we're gonna get somewhere, because the locker room scene was pretty steamy at the very end. I enjoyed it.
I loved it. I cheered. The only thing I want to say though is it just me, or does Eli always look confused every time he interacts with Andy? Like,
I don't think he's more confused as he is just like enamored.
That must be it, because she walked away and he was like, that just happened?
He's just,
what is that?
I think he's just crushing on her super hard. I think it's really cute.
It's adorable. It's like a cute little, high school crush. I love it.
It is. I hope we don't play around them too much and they can have a cute little relationship. I hope it lasts, because I just want Andy to have somebody and be happy.
She needs something light and fun. She's been in a lot of relationships that were very, heavy.
Serious.
Very serious. Like, she needs somebody fun. Eli's fun.
Yeah, I think they kind of seem not a match, but at the same time, I think that's exactly what Andy needs. is somebody not so just dark and broody and serious all the time like Andy usually likes to go for. He's a little bit more lighter and fun, and but he's also professional and he's serious as well when he needs to be. So, well, not all the time, but when most of the time, let's say that. He did get knocked out at a call, but just move past that little incident.
I think I need to go back and rewatch last week's episode where he got punched in the face with his sling on. Because I feel like that's going to like be a classic Station 19 scene.
Oh,
And
for sure.
need to play it on repeat.
Well, hopefully if he sticks around with Andy.
Yes, please.
So while Travis is having a great time over there doing all his questions with Eli and his radio appearances, we've got Jack and Maya filling in for him on desk duty. Why was Jack on desk duty? Oh my goodness.
So I think what was going on is that Maya's back,
Yeah.
but the only thing she's back and allowed to do is desk duty. But I'm wondering if they don't want her to be alone on desk duty. Because Travis
Maybe.
was supposed to do it. And Jack said he was there filling in for Travis.
That was my thing. Is like, why would they put Maya back in desk duty, but then have somebody else in desk duty only if they just aren't ready to leave her, I guess, by herself yet.
I mean, that's all I could think of, but I was really confused also. I was like, but why did anyone need to fill in for Travis if Maya was already going to be there because she can't do anything else?
Yeah, it was a little bit. I was kind of confused with that. I didn't know if you had known any, like if I had missed something that didn't come up, or maybe I just wasn't thinking about something. But I think that's it. I think they're not ready for her to be back on duty completely by herself. But I am glad that Jack was there. I mean, his friend, oh my gosh, his sister, Brooke, and her friend comes in after a motorcycle accident. I really like Brooke. I'm starting to really like Brooke.
I like Brooke, and I think what I love about her is that she's so much like Jack. But they're also so opposite. You know, he doesn't quite fit it. Like, he's been wanting to find his family all these years, and he's found them, and he realizes he doesn't really fit in with them. And then Brooke has, as I guess we're starting to learn more about Brooke, we're learning that she also doesn't feel like she fits in with her own family either. So I think she's really trying to embrace the fact that now she has another brother who she can connect with. And I think once they can get over all of, the garbage they've kind of put each other through this episode.
Yeah.
Because they did agree to start over towards the end. But
I think they're just very similar. I think she's just a younger and more immature. I don't even more immature than Jack. I think she is just a younger, more immature version of Jack. Mm-hmm. And I think that them hanging out and really getting to know each other will help not only him, but help them both.
I think it's going to give them both the family that, they really need, because neither one of them fits in with that family.
Mm-mm.
And I don't like that family. They can just ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
It's very upsetting. I don't like them very much.
I do want to see the parents though, just so that I can have faces to like be angry at. Because I don't know, maybe I missed something, but Jack and Andy, they went and they met his brother, right?
Yes.
But there hasn't been any, like, he hasn't met his parents yet, right?
I don't think so. Not that I remember. I don't know why not. I think there is something.
Because I'm wondering if maybe he has spoken to his parents or something, but it was kind of just mentioned real quickly and then we moved on. But I really need to find out like what his parents think of this whole situation with Jack coming back into their lives one way or another, because I don't know, he's really involved with Brooke, and I'm kind of under the impression Brooke doesn't really talk to her parents much.
So yeah, I don't think that Jack really did anything with his family. Brooke even came to find him, because remember, he was going to go leave and like find his family and kind of get more into his deep roots, but then he like ran into Eva and ended up pankiffed to the bed instead after a tree fell in on him. So I don't think, from what I know, from what I can find, he's never met or attempted to meet his biological parents. I think he's still PO'd at them, to be honest.
Well, rightfully so. They gave him up, and then they ended up married and had more kids who are his full-blooded siblings. So,
Which I understand. I honestly I do understand that. I'm no now. Do I think that? I mean, we also don't know, right? Maybe they really thought he got adopted out and he's living this great life, and they don't want to interrupt his life. Now I think they know. I mean, obviously he's had connections with Brooke. He's had connections with his brother. His parents have to know that Jack's kind of like in the picture now, right? So now I think that it's kind of on his parents of not even trying to reach out or anything. But before, when they didn't know what had happened to Jack, I understand that because they were in high school. I mean, it happens all the time. People, they're not ready for a baby in high school. Some people are, and that's amazing. Some people aren't, and that's cool too. But I do think it's a little weird. They haven't even tried to reach out since knowing. Well, heck, maybe they know. I'm only assuming that the other kids have told them, but who knows?
I think the brother mentioned something about how, they've been wanting to look for him, but they didn't want to disrupt his life. And I'm like, he's here. He's
Yeah.
already
So see,
inserted himself into your life. So obviously he's looking for something. So like,
mhm,
where are the parents? Do they still just not give a crap?
who knows? I don't know. I am kind of curious to see how that ends up. He's gonna. I mean, they're gonna have to be introduced at some point. They keep us hanging forever. So I think that they'll end up hopefully introducing us to his parents because I feel like that's the storyline that we do need to get a little bit more in depth because I feel like they tried to go in depth with Jack and then we just got like pulled another way and it just like everything kind of disappeared and we just moved on. But nothing was like really not fixed, but um
I remember he kind of wrote like he quit and then rode off on his motorcycle right after he found out about his family.
mhm.
So he was really angry with them. I'm wondering if maybe he was just ready to run off and he was like, I'm done with these people. I don't want anything to do with them after all.
Mhm.
And obviously things changed when Brooke kind of dropped in.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, this motorcycle accident, I feel like it went from worse to like more and more worse. The more
Oh.
information that like it already started terribly, and the more information she shared, I was like, okay, good. There's more.
So I immediately, immediately when they came in, I was like, oh my gosh, they're drunk and they got in a motorcycle accident. After about not a few minutes, maybe even if even that, I was like, oh, they're not drunk. They're definitely high on something. Also dumb. Like I said, she is a younger, more immature version of Jack, and that is something dumb that Jack would have done too. Heck, I wouldn't have put it past Jack to do last week. So I don't even know how he has any room to talk to her.
Well, he
Wasn't
was
he just getting uncuffed from a bed after a tree falling on him after he went rogue like a couple of months ago, maybe?
like, I'm allowed to get handcuffed to a bed and be stuck under the tree after going rogue for months, but not you.
Even though hers, I think, was a little hers was a little bit more deadly. You should not drive or ride on a motorcycle when the driver is impaired. That's kind of common sense, but sometimes when people are on things, they don't use their common sense like they should. But hopefully, I think he big brothered it nicely. Like I said, they at the very end they're agreed to start over. I think that's great. I'm really interested and excited to see their relationship continue and bloom, and hopefully he'll get that sense of family that I feel like he's always kind of been searching for.
Yeah, because I mean, he has the station, but they all have their own things going on. Like the station isn't everybody's isn't everybody else's whole life. So I think he's just he really needs to find something that's all just, his own.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But let's also talk about Maya, because Maya was with Jack during all this. Before this, though, Maya. Oh, Maya. She made Karina this lasagna.
Poor Bailey. I love it. Any scene that Bailey is in, I'm like, yay, Bailey's here. She's gonna make it fun. But I'm like, she's just standing there. Well, Maya is holding this lasagna, and Karina's standing there looking bad, like looking really angry at her. And then Bailey's just like, thanks for bringing the lasagna, Maya.
I was so happy that Bailey was there. She made that scene incredibly better. I'm all here for it. Obviously, Maya should just not cook.
Well, she said that she took it out like a few minutes early because she had to go to work. I'm like,
not when it has meat in it.
And then Bailey like smelled and she was like, oh yeah, that's no good.
Like, I want to know what the smell was, because to me, like lasagna, right? I'm starting to think of like lasagna. Like, cheese is not going to stink bad unless the cheese is bad. Like, can you really smell undercooked beef? Because I feel like beef is kind of like, I don't know.
I wouldn't think so, especially not if it's all like mixed up in there. Like, how
would that smell? I don't know. I was confused when she like smelled it and said it's bad. I was like, I thought it was like the cheese or like something. But then when she's like, it was undercooked, the only thing undercooked I feel like in a lasagna would be the meat. But like I said, it's beef. You can eat beef raw. So is it bad? Maybe the beef was just bad. I don't know. This is why I was so confused during this, is because
I thought she was pregnant. That's where I was kind of going off of. But then they said that the lasagna was bad, and I was like, oh, okay, never mind, that's it. But I don't know. I still can't get that out of my head.
Pregnancy definitely flew to my mind first until Bailey smelled it. My mind was at pregnancy, but I was also going, how long has it been since their last? I was trying to do fast math in my head. I was like, we know she didn't just like go out and get pregnant. So I was trying to like figure out when their last IVF cycle was, but I can't remember. I feel like it was just too long ago for her to like just now realize she's pregnant. Well, I don't know. They've only been fighting for hasn't been that long. So it could be. I mean, you can be weeks upon weeks pregnant, not even know. But I feel like with her job and her knowledge,
and also with how hard she was trying to get pregnant, I mean, you'd think that it's something she would realize pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't think she's pregnant. I don't think that was. I think this entire storyline was just made for Maya and Karina to make up, which I think they did. And I gotta say, Maya is still not my favorite. She could go next week and I would not care, but I hated her less this episode than I did in the previous one.
I am starting to hate her less and less. I've gone from hate to just a very strong dislike.
Yeah, same.
I don't know. They're gonna have to do something very impressive to, make me.
I honestly think it's just gonna take time.
I never really loved her though, so like
I might not ever love her.
I'm not sure what they can do at this point to, bring her back around and make her, I don't know, not hateable.
I don't know. I mean, she was really sweet. She just little things that she did, I did appreciate. Like when Karina closed that bathroom door, she didn't lock it, but Maya still stood on the other side and gave Karina the space that she was asking for. She didn't overstep. I do like the way that because me watching a show, I know we're gonna have to talk about this stuff on podcasts, and so I pay attention to these little bitty things. But she really was respectful to Karina. She didn't overcrowd her. She gave her space. She mainly only talked when I feel like she thought it was okay to talk towards Karina. I mean, I feel like she gave her space and respected her boundaries, which was really nice to see, because it's just been all hatred and just mad and just yelling for so long with them too. It was just nice to kind of see Maya respecting those boundaries more.
Yeah, because I think she's finally starting to realize this isn't about her.
Mm-hmm.
because it's been the Maya show in that relationship for way too long. So it is refreshing to see that she's making it about somebody else for once.
Yeah.
That's never been her MO. She's always like me all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I didn't tear up. I won't put it that far, but I did get a little bit like weepy whenever she's like, I'm afraid of walking out of here and like losing this. Because I understood that fear at that time because she finally Karina's put up her wall. And I think that that was absolutely right of Karina to do. But I also understand Maya's point of I just kind of got this wall down a little bit after you not talking to me for this long. I don't want to just walk out, even though she needed to, because as we know, our training facility day did not go as planned over here, which again, building up characters and making us like them, not like them a little bit more, but giving us a little bit more of a sympathy card of them was Beckett this week.
You know, I'm not understanding what they're doing with Beckett because
You know,
they're doing two things at the same time. The first is that they're giving him more of a story and endearing him to and making him more endearing.
Yep.
At the same time, they're using those things against him to make us hate him more. So
See, I didn't hate him more this week. There was no more hate this week. I'm kind of at the point I don't know who messed up. It very well could have been Beckett. It very well could have been from his drinking. Towards the end, when Theo just went off on him, I was really pissed off at Theo. I really wasn't that mad at Beckett because it wasn't the right time or place. And I feel like that's where the rest of the firehouse was kind of like, hey, because Beckett did just lose his probie. That Cooper was somebody that he was close with, that he brought up, and he just died on his watch. I mean, Beckett's a human being. He knows he messed up. He knows he messed up. And I feel like at that time, right after it happened, right after when the station should be together and being together at this point of just losing a fellow firefighter, and I was really disappointed in Theo this week of how he handled that.
yeah, I didn't appreciate how he just exploded right from the beginning because I'm like, okay, let's say that Beckett is 100% to blame. Theo still would have been in the wrong because you don't just go around
Accusing
people
of murder.
It wasn't even in private. It was like out loud for the entire world to hear that your captain is drinking on the job and that he probably set this whole thing off. I'm like, there's a right way to go about reporting someone and having it investigated.
Yep.
And running at them and saying, this is all your fault is just not it. Like, I get you're mad, and you should be. Beckett's put a lot of people through hell the last few months, really.
Yep.
But
I
come
mean,
on.
and you even had Vic, Theo's girlfriend, Vic, who doesn't like Beckett, even say, this isn't the time. Theo, like, it's not the time. Don't do this. And he just, I mean, that I have said it, like, Theo's not one of my favorites. And I know they're trying to make us like him more. And this week, as much as I agree with Beckett needs to answer to whatever happened, Vic also had this voice of saying Cooper was responsible of checking that too. Cooper was just as responsible for checking those as, I don't want to say as Beckett was. Beckett should have been the one over it because he's the captain of them. But like Vic said, it wasn't just on Beckett. This is a freak accident. This doesn't happen all the time. Should there be an investigation? Absolutely. Should Beckett be under heavily investigated along with the drinking allegations and everything? Absolutely. And if he is at fault, he needs to be punished for it. But I feel like it's just too soon to say you killed somebody. That's like that takes it too far.
And I mean, this is a training. Like this is a training.
Yeah.
I mean, how likely is it that one person and one person only was responsible for making sure everything was, good to go and, safe and everything. Like, there has to have been somebody else.
And even if, I mean, accidents happen. Accidents happen every day. Even if you check it, we don't know if he was drinking on the job at this point. We have no idea. So I don't feel like, I don't want to say anything too soon. He didn't act like he was drinking on the job. He was acting very normal. I feel like usually when Beckett is like drinking on the job, which we have seen him do, and I hate giving I don't even like giving excuses for Beckett at this point,
He's a lot
but I
more.
feel like he needs it this week.
He's far more abrasive when he's been drinking on the job,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't this week. He was a lot more easygoing. He was even
Yeah, he was like joking around and stuff. Like,
he even seemed fun.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, they actually gave him kind of a more of a personality to where I was like, hey, okay, I like this kind of Beckett. And then for all this to happen, it kind of like really did throw me off because I was like, it didn't seem like Beckett to like be under the influence at all today, or I am kind of confused, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how this investigation goes.
That's exactly what I'm confused about. It's like they're making him look, like a fun, decent guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're like, nope, wait, never mind. We're going to do this thing that's going to make him look guilty of something. Like,
Yeah,
can you pick one thing? Like, is he a bad guy or is he not? Like, just go that way.
yeah, I'm ready for this back and forth. And I think this is the beginning to the end of the whole Beckett thing. I mean, I don't really care if Beckett stays captain. I really don't at this point. He's just not a very good team player. And I feel like even as a captain, you still have to be a good team player with a fire team. Like, you can't, for the firehouse to be successful, you can be tough. I mean, like, let's go to Chicago, Bowden. Everybody respects him. When he says jump, everyone says how high. But he's also loves and supports his firehouse. Beckett, on the other hand, is not like that at all, which no wonder nobody respects him. We all get it, but I don't know. It was just a little bit off this week to me. I felt my heart was really breaking. I never cry when it comes to Station 19. I did cry this week when this man who we just met this week died. I got very attached to him all of a sudden.
He was going to ask his girlfriend to marry him.
No, it was just, I mean, like, Beckett was the best captain he'd ever had. They had such a good relationship, which we've never seen that before. We've never seen Beckett have an outstanding relationship with somebody. And so it was actually, it kind of humanized them. I enjoyed seeing somebody actually really like Beckett and kind of like talking him up. And then there's like, take him out. Krista was like, nope, we don't like him. He's out. Thanks. So obviously Cooper dies at the hospital.
They just
I think
Cooper right in front of us. It's like, ooh, look, we like Beckett now. Never mind.
no. I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt until they prove me wrong, which I might really get proven wrong next week, and that's fine. That's the fun of Shondaland. I get it. This is why I keep watching these shows. I think Cooper's death might be about to send Beckett into a spiral, though. I mean, things are definitely not looking great for him next week.
Yeah, I really hope that not that I'm glad Cooper died, because come on, that was sad.
Yeah.
Terrible. But I'm hoping that his death is kind of gonna, I don't know, finally wake him up a little bit and be like, hey, he thought I was a good guy. I know that I can be better than I am. So however it goes, I hope he kind of, gives him a wake-up call and be like, I need to, fix my drinking problem. I need to,
Yeah.
the guy that, Cooper seemed to think he is.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like he's completely 100% losing his team next week.
And I don't understand how it would be up to the team on whether to report him or not. I feel like if somebody dies in the field, that would be an automatic investigation, and they've already told Ross about his drinking, so I would just feel like that would be a part of it.
Would it not be protocol for
drug testing immediately.
Or for Beckett to go to Ross and be like, hey, this happened at the training facility. Go ahead and launch your investigation, find out what happened. Like, is that not how
I feel like it should just be an automatic. Like, I don't even think Beckett should have to even call Ross. I feel like she should have been there almost immediately and starting an investigation. I mean, this is a training day that somebody got killed on. This is going to be a huge thing.
Yeah, something that also confused me as far as the preview went was like basically Andy's about to take control of the team. She's like, no, this is my call. I'm like, you're in the middle of a call. Is that going to really be the right time to argue over who's supposed to be in charge here? Like, that doesn't seem safe.
No, they're gonna next week's just it feels like it's just gonna be a whirlwind of a mess.
I'm
I
here
guess we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to just jump right into Grey's Anatomy.
So, Chief Teddy. She's finally Chief.
Yes, we finally get to see Teddy as an
And
acting chief.
from the get-go, we have Owen nagging the crap out of her. I need someone to super. It's like he's an 8-year-old. Like, mom.
Well, what does she expect? It's her husband. That's what they do.
You know, I've been so sick of the way they talk to each other, and like everything they say to each other is so passive aggressive.
Yep.
But after this week, I feel like I have a tiny bit of hope after this week. I think things are.
I do too. I never, the whole time they were fighting, I didn't think that they were going to actually end. I felt like there was going to be reconciliation the whole time. I didn't know how long we were going to go around this. I didn't know how far they were going to get, but I never thought they would be end to end. I feel like if they were end to end, one of them would have to leave the show at this point. And I don't think that either of them are, I don't think Kim or Kevin are ready to leave the show just quite yet. Getting close.
They did a lot of work to get Teddy and Owen together in the first place. So, I mean, that would be pretty cruel of them to just be like, nope, we're done with this couple.
Can we just see them happy for just like a season, please?
We see a happy couple, like someone, because everyone is just so miserable.
My goodness gracious. No. So Teddy, this was hilarious to me. Grace was a little bit more funny to me this week, but we did have a very, very, very sad storyline in here, but we actually had two very sad storylines in here, but we'll get to those towards the end. But Link helping following Owen around. And nobody wants Link around him.
And poor Link, he just looked so bored. Like he was like, I would rather be sitting at home in my boxers, drinking a beer in front of the TV than watching Owen be a doctor.
Exactly. Like, I don't know why they don't have just like Link and Owen doing exactly what they did, which is like unconscious people who don't know who's working on them. Sorry, but we know as an audience how amazing doctors are. I mean, how amazing Owen and Lincoln are as doctors and as real people in real life. I love Kevin McKidd and I love
Chris Carmack.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I follow him like every social media and his name just went blank.
I was in the ER and both of them showed up to treat me, I'd be like, oh, never mind. I changed my mind. Everything in my body is broken.
I got a broken leg and I got some trauma in here somewhere.
I think maybe there's something wrong with my spleen and my appendix, and I broke both my legs. Yeah.
I know Owen's not a fan favorite by any means. I've always loved Owen. I mean, he has he had his times he pissed me off. Of course. Every Grace character has done that at one point or another for me. I love Owen. I feel like he's had some very hard times in Grace, but like going back, and I think you do too, going back and whenever we rewatch, it's so hard to believe how early on Owen really had been in the show. And like thinking back to where he is now and thinking of his relationship with like Christina, it seems like two separate shows almost at this point. Like I barely even remember him being with Christina.
See, I did not like Owen until Christina was gone. Like I miss Christina. I still miss Christina. I was sad when she left. I'm still sad that I know she's never coming back. But I did enjoy how I seemed to like Owen more and more after she left. I was like,
Yeah.
she really, like, as much as I loved her, she really brought that man down.
It was because I feel like I just feel like they weren't matched up very well. I feel like they're too much type A personalities. I feel like they both have to feel like they're in charge all the time, and they have to take charge in every situation that they're in. And you can't have two people in a relationship like that.
It's just gonna blow up.
You're gonna be fighting all the time, which ended up happening with them. But I like Owen and Teddy together. So after this week, after they kind of had that talk about, after all this, Owen kind of messes up and does something that he wasn't supposed to do. I still don't even understand what he did that wrong. I mean, he was being supervised, so I don't understand what he did wrong.
Well, first of all, he took it upon himself to have someone come observe him so he could get his license back. That's what that really boring, emotionless guy was there for.
Well, yeah, I knew that, but like that guy was there, but Link is like a board certified doctor, and he was observing.
I think the problem is that Link was recommending, like, we need to wait until we get to, the OR. But
he wasn't listening.
Owen, sorry, I could only think, Kevin for a second. Owen was just like, no, we need to help him now. He just cut, and I was like, oh my God, Owen, you're not going to be able to go through this for another 6 months. What did you do?
See, but I had the opposite. I was like, Link, shut up. Owen knows what he's doing.
But at the same time, Link was just there looking. It was more of the attitude of, oh no, Owen, please don't. Oh no.
He just saw for liability.
Link has just been so out of it.
At the same time, though, Link doesn't really want to take any chances right now. I mean, he did just quote unquote kill the tank, even though he didn't. Can we also say I am so tired of this storyline? It's done. Next week, I better not hear the tank again. Please. If anybody is listening out there, I need Link to be back to his normal self and us stop harping on one death that wasn't even his fault in the first place. And like everybody who comes into the hospital knows Link's face. No, it's a little bit unreal to me at this point. Like you don't. I'm sorry, you're not going to do that in real life. You're not going to go after the doctor who killed like a entry level football player. He was like 20 something. He wasn't. I understand he was like a big deal for the Seahawks or whatever, but and it was like Winston was working on him when he died, not even Link. So I'm tired of this.
How come it's all Link's fault? Winston, like it was he was Winston's patient.
Exactly.
To the OR where he died.
So meh, y'all leave Link alone.
Yeah, go blame Winston. It's all Winston's fault. Leave Link alone.
But I mean, Link had returned Blue and Lucas because obviously he wasn't going to need them because he couldn't do anything. So he didn't need his interns that day. So they went with Catherine, which I love anytime we get Catherine time. I used to never say that, but I feel like every time she's in the show now, I end up laughing.
But I think maybe now that it's Catherine in smaller doses, every once in a while, you're starting to like her more. I always liked Catherine.
I never liked how she was with Jackson, to be honest. I never liked how she was with Jackson. She was too overbearing. I'm all with a supportive mom. I felt like she was just that, and tons of moms are like this. I can't even say I won't be like that when I'm older. Who knows? I have boys too, but I just feel like she was just way too overbearing for him and stuck her business her nose in his business where she shouldn't have. And that's what annoyed me with Catherine for so many years. But now that Jackson's gone and she's just with Richard and we just have little bitty doses of her, I feel like now I love every time she comes on the screen. I'm like, yes, Catherine. Even though we got bad news this week.
Every time I see Catherine, I keep forgetting that she's still going through this cancer storyline just because she isn't on very much.
Okay. They have not been very clear to us at all, though, before this episode of where her cancer was sitting. We really hadn't gotten an answer. I think we had talked about it on a podcast, like one of the first or second episodes, like, we know she's still alive and around, but they didn't really tell us anything.
Yeah, I think early on this season we were talking about this, how we're not quite sure even what kind of, I don't even remember what kind of cancer she has. Like, what is it?
She has bone cancer.
Oh.
Which I think it's really bad.
Well, I mean, yeah, bone cancer is bad, but the reason I'm going is because that doesn't ring a bell at all. Like, maybe I just never knew what kind of
it's cancer. Because it's called, the name that it's actually called actually does ring a bell. It's chondrosarcoma.
Okay, well, sarcoma sounds familiar. So
sarcoma, yeah, chondrosarcoma. It says in an interview with Entertainment Weekly in 2019, Finch alleged that Catherine's cancer storyline and the detail that the surgeons had to leave a small piece of cancer in her spine was inspired by her own battle. Oh, okay. Never mind. Hold on. I read the whole thing wrong.
Wait, now it sounds familiar because I remember it being something to do
apparently
with
she had chondrosarcoma in real life, and that's kind of what's based. So as Catherine underwent surgery for a large spinal tumor in season 15. I do remember that. So yeah, I guess it is bone. Because it was on her spine. Remember when they were like, Jackson was still there.
Yeah.
And she had to go through that huge surgery. So, and that was on her spine. So yeah, I mean, that would make sense that she has bone cancer if it was there. I mean, obviously now we know. Anyways, you just keep going way off.
Now we know.
Now we know she has bone cancer, and she did have it in real life too. I actually did not know that. But kind of going back to Catherine's storyline this week, it was awesome. It was amazing. I love it anytime that she has to do a penis surgery.
She always has the best cases, and it's 100% to do with her being a urologist, right? That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
It's 100% with her being a urologist. She's just going to be one of those doctors that gets the really interesting cases. And as I think it was Blue who said it, I mean,
he's got a bone in his bone.
And poor Levi, I was like,
get it out.
Levi 100% wants to participate and like play around with them, but he's like, I have to be the responsible resident.
Who was it?
Grow up.
They did. Oh, Bailey said that to Alex way back. That it kind of rang bell that she's like, get it all out, get it, and he like kept saying that with the really fat guy. He had to come in and do the surgery. You remember?
That sounds vaguely familiar, yeah.
And Alex kept making little quirks about his weight, and his wife was really tiny and small. Do you remember this couple?
No, I don't, but I'm still.
Oh my gosh, it was so freaking funny. And then Bailey's like, get it all out of your system now. And so, okay, that makes it actually this week a lot more funny. That just clicked in my head. So Levi pretty much did what Bailey did to Alex. He did it to Blue and Lucas this week. So amazing. I definitely called Blue passing out, by the way, even before the previews. I could definitely see Blue passing out before Lucas.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But Catherine, I had my money on the other one. She's just so funny. But okay. And also, I did not agree with Lucas having to miss the rest of the surgery only because Blue like passed out.
He didn't even get to come back.
I know that, and I I'm glad he said something to him too. He's like, hey, I had to miss the whole surgery because of you.
I'm glad he got something out of it though.
Yeah, he did.
But still, he missed a pretty cool surgery.
He did. It was that whole storyline was fun and funny, except the very end of it where Catherine tells Richard that her cancer is progressing. That kind of like gutted me at the end. That was really sad. I hated hearing that. But before we move on from Levi, first of all, Carlos, when he's riding his stupid bike with the bike helmet. Bike helmets are not stupid. That's not what I meant.
Wear your helmet.
When he comes riding up with that freaking helmet and bicycle, and Joe's like, just take the helmet off.
Hair's just.
I laughed so hard. Put it back on.
Yeah, as soon as he took it off, I was like,
oh.
Well, I don't like either one. Like,
I would definitely just like leave the helmet on, but unbuckled, and maybe like while he's talking to him, take it off and rustle the hair. I think that was the correct move if I'm just like thinking, but him hiding behind Joe was probably the best move he could have done at that point, to be honest. And it was hilarious. I did miss Joe this week. We didn't get very much Joe this week, and I missed that.
I think we'll get a lot of her probably next week.
Anyways, Levi ends up after the surgery, asks Carlos out. I'm glad he finally did this. I need Levi to have another love interest.
He needs to be happy. He's just been so like he's the only resident at Gray Sloan, which I would ask, why is that? That doesn't make any sense. Like,
I think there's more.
There has to be more, but he's the only one that
is like on this rotation that we watch.
Yeah,
obviously.
He at least know, but
like it's real. No, he's the only one.
There's the impression that he is the only like surgical resident. And if that's going to be the case, he needs some fun.
He does. I definitely need fun Levi back. I think that is going to be the answer to it. Hopefully. But before we move on to Natalia, which is the one who breaks everybody's hearts this week, to kind of finish off our other guy, that poor wife, I just want to mention her. She came up there and didn't even go in and see her husband. I could not imagine having, and I know it happens every day, and it's normal for some people. I just couldn't imagine having that kind of relationship to where I couldn't even like tell my spouse I was having like honestly major surgery. Like,
because isn't he gonna have like a big recoup ahead of him?
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to tell her, and she's like, I'll sit at home, wait till he calls me. No, I'm not that kind of person. Maybe I should be sometimes, but I'd be walking out of the room being like, excuse me.
You're barging right into Ben's hospital and being like, excuse you, sir.
Excuse me, unless you want me to yank you up by your ear and come out of here, you better tell me what's up.
He's married to an angel, let me tell you, because a lot of wives would not have just turned around and walked out.
No, and I mean, I understand like it shouldn't be, if we're all the freaking adults here, it shouldn't be an embarrassing thing. But I just feel like if it's your wife, if it's your partner, like why be embarrassed over that? I don't know.
Also, so many things can go wrong in surgeries. I mean, we've been watching Grace for 19 years now. We know things can go wrong in surgeries.
You can die from the hiccups.
Yeah, like I don't know. If I was his wife, I would have been so pissed that he got, but I mean, she was happy. I mean, I guess it wasn't that big a deal in her mind because she did know about it.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't important to her that he tells her.
Yeah,
but
it was.
I was like, he didn't even think about the fact that she's the one responsible for like paying all their bills and stuff, and that she would have. That's how she found out. She said,
yeah, she takes care of all the insurance and stuff. Like, got to be smarter than that, buddy. I didn't really like that guy in the first place. The only reason I liked this entire storyline was because of Catherine and Lucas and Blue and Levi. Other than that, I really wasn't that impressed with the guy. He kind of peeved me off a couple times, but that's me being a whiny wife, I guess.
Whiny wife. I like it.
Whiny wife.
As it
Who's
makes
not a whiny wife is Catherine. And Richard had his case with Natalia this week, and that was just
that,
heartbreaking
that was hard.
and a huge lesson for Jules. Really like this, like close in, not close, like the beginning of your residency and having to deal with this type of case, which I feel like you don't come across every single day. And it would be hard to go in and be like, okay, we are supposed to help people, but you're telling me, like she said, we can't help her at all. But I also love Richard with his advice saying we can't save everybody. We can't, but we can make her comfortable. We can help her in that way.
They also need to be kind.
Yeah.
And sending her into surgery, like he said, was only going to kill her even faster. And
Yeah.
it's not the kind thing to do.
Let her have a few hours with her husband rather than killing her in surgery. I mean, it's the ugly truth. I was hoping for the best with Natalia, but obviously life can be cruel sometimes. And Shondaland loves to remind us of that.
Life is cruel. Too bad.
Yeah. I mean, between Maggie and Winston and Richard, they all said there's nothing more that they can do for her if they absolutely wanted to. There's absolutely nothing more they could do with her. And poor Jules, I just felt bad for her this week of having to have that first, because I'm sure the first time that does happen, like Meredith said it when she was like on her very last episode. She's like, when she didn't even like get upset about her last surgery of the patient dying, she's like, you want to feel that, keep feeling that feeling, and don't, because one day you're not going to be upset like that, upset about it. And that's hard to like process for a new resident who comes in here like the first magic team did and feel like they can save everybody and that they're awesome. And the real world's messy. Can't save everybody, Jules.
Real world sucks.
But also, how did you feel about Natalia not wanting them to tell her husband?
I mean, I had mixed feelings about that part. I understood where she was coming from, but at the same time, I felt that it was unfair to him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I had mixed emotions about it. I mean, it totally made sense why she didn't want him to know, because she didn't want her last moments to be, with an already sad husband.
Yeah, I understood where she was coming from. And I liked that he knew her well enough to know that when she sent him out for hot chocolate, of what that meant. I love seeing that little bit of, I don't know, connection and humanity, that, he just knew his wife so much that asking him to go get hot chocolate, he knew what that meant. And he also knew not to really go and say anything to her. They sat there and they planned that trip until she took her last breath. And I thought I didn't cry. I know a lot of people cried this week when Natalia died. I didn't cry. I feel like I feel like I only cry with this show whenever they like surprise me with a death, like Andrews or George, or one of those who just like completely takes you by surprise. Natalia, she's a patient. We've only seen her a couple times. I think it was a very sad, really sad storyline, and more of a serious one than we've had lately. But I thought it was really nicely done, and I thought it was really sweet of seeing them just sit there and plan their little trip together and where they're going to eat and what they're going to see. And I thought it was really nicely done.
I was very sad. We're not sitting here saying that it was not terrible that she died, because
No.
I was sad, but yeah, just like you, I didn't really cry. Things have to hit really close to home for me for me to cry. I think the last time I sobbed during a TV show was during Chicago Med, with that autistic man who was in the hospital with his grandma. That's the
Oh
that was a
gosh.
lot for my cry, but yeah, things have to hit really close to home for me to cry about anything.
Yeah. I mean, I say the same thing, and then I was like, I just cried over Cooper, who we just met this episode. But he was talking about his daughter and proposing. That's what actually got me on Cooper's, was just like, I was like, oh, you just gave me too much information about him. And then just like, I didn't realize he was going to be the one who died. I thought it was actually going to be the probie. I think I was just more taken aback of who died
We're
versus,
gonna make you fall in love with this brand new character. Never mind.
no. Just joking. No, but Natalia's death was very sad. And actually, I really enjoyed Grace kind of having this kind of storyline this week. But on the lighter side, we also met Barbara and her sisters, man.
I
I
I
never thought I would laugh so much over cancer.
I kid you not. I texted my sister, who, by the way, also watches Grey's Anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
I texted my sister, and she hadn't seen it yet, and I just said, let's just say that. Well, I asked her to watch it first, and then she was like, "Yeah, I watched it," and I said, "Thank goodness hospitals have morgues." Because if you acted this way when I was in the hospital to get a biopsy to see if I had cancer or not, I would have to murder you. Oh
Like,
my,
yay! Finally got cancer. I was like, why are they cheering?
don't worry, you'll get it. I'm like, what is there?
No.
Like, no, nobody wants anybody to have cancer. This is not normal.
And when they broke out the box with the sister in it, I
Yeah,
lost it. I was like, oh my gosh.
and Nika was sent to get her coffee.
She was cancer free. She fell off a ladder. They cracked me up. We needed, I feel like Natalia's storyline was so heavy. We really did need this one. And I loved it. I was so here for it. I needed the laugh. At the at the end, we find out that she left her sister in Reno and she's there carrying around cat litter for 15 years.
Everything about the storyline was just so funny because thankfully, as it turned out, Barbara didn't have cancer. It was benign. So yay for Barbara. So luckily this whole storyline was just so funny. And I love when Barbara finally was just like, stop it. What are you doing? I don't want cancer. Nobody wants cancer.
Nobody wants cancer. What are you? I'm glad she finally gave it to them because they're like, oh, you'll get it one day. It's okay. What are you talking about? That's not how you react to somebody in the hospital having a biopsy. Like, it just blew my mind. It was so funny because it's not how anybody would react. I think that's why we were able to laugh at it so hard. It's because this is so off the base. And if somebody did act like this in real life, I'd be like, you need to get out of my room now.
I would hate to see how the sisters, like how they would have acted if it turned out that she did have cancer. Yay, congratulations, you have cancer. It's like, oh my, get out of here.
Like, you'll get it one day. When she said that, I was like, oh, you did not.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't want it.
Like nobody ever wants
Thanks.
cancer. Like
No, that was a horrible storyline, but it did bring some very some laughs because Barbara did not end up having cancer, thank God. Knock on wood. But we still have, speaking of sisters, by the way, Amelia and Maggie being roommates seems like it's going phenomenally. But
phenomenally.
nope, I'm going with my word. Phenomenally. That's it.
Note everybody, the word is now phenomenally. Will be in Webster's dictionary next year.
Next to Waggy.
Right under Waggy. Reading new words left and right, aren't you?
She's gonna be Fandom Family Chat's new words. Dictionary.
Not a book. Words
Oh,
by
no.
Amanda.
But I did like, obviously Maggie can be very
Maggie.
Maggie. Which, by the way, we should probably enter here that she is leaving the show.
And I'm not sad.
I'm not sad either. And we do dog on Maggie on this podcast. Not because, I mean, I don't want to say I don't love Maggie. I really do care about her character. She just, it's been kind of, I'm sorry, but it's been kind of boring the past few years. I mean, we've talked about this before, and I hate saying it, but I'm kind of over it at this point. A lot of the main characters are leaving. I think this is a perfect time for Kelly to leave the show as well. She's been here for a long time.
Maggie was interesting at the very beginning when we were learning more about, Ellis's secret pregnancy and her being up for adoption. But then after that whole thing was kind of over, it's almost like they didn't know what to do with her.
They just made her Meredith's sister, and she just like joined the family. But the other thing that like always kind of frustrates me is I would like it a lot more if Maggie and Richard had a little bit more of a relationship. I mean, they are father and daughter, and I honestly always forget because we just never see them acting. I know she has a real mom and like a real, not a real mom, real dad, but she has a mom and dad, and I don't want her to replace, well, she did. I don't want her to replace her parents with Richard, but I would love to have seen them have a little bit more of a close relationship. They do work together all day, every day.
I do keep forgetting that, biologically speaking, of course, that they are father and daughter until they start talking to each other. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing all the time. I always forget. And I feel like after how long she's been on the show, 10, 12 years, you shouldn't forget that at this point. Like that should be like a known thing. Unfortunately, I don't think they really carried the Maggie character the way that they could have or should have.
They just didn't know what to do with her a lot of times, except she's in the sister club. And
I am wondering if what they're going to do with Winston too.
Winston can stay. I like Winston.
I wonder if he will. They haven't said he's leaving.
No, I wonder how Maggie's gonna leave. Like, I wonder what, like, is she going to Boston to be with Meredith and the kids?
I'm hoping so. I feel like if there was any way of getting Maggie out of the show in a nice kind of way, I would really like to see her move to Boston with Meredith and the kids. Like, hey, Meredith needs help. She needs help at the hospital. She needs help or wherever she's working now. She needs help with the kids. She needs help with work. I'm just going to go out there, something like that. Since me and Winston aren't working very well together, I think they are going to have to split up. But I also feel like she's leaving the show really fast. So maybe she leaves as to give them like a separation and maybe they'll divorce later down the road. I feel like it's too fast for divorce because I feel like she's only going to be on another episode or two. I think she's leaving really quickly.
They said April something.
Yeah, so it's coming up.
So
I just don't feel like they can do a whole divorce in that time.
They may have already filmed her final episode, depending on how far in advance they film.
I think they film 2 or 3 weeks in advance.
So they might be ready to film it pretty soon.
It's either they've already filmed it or they're about to film it. So I don't know. We're gonna have to see. So bye, Kelly. We'll give you a proper goodbye when you actually do leave. But
we wish Kelly the best.
We really do. I really love her as an actress. She is obviously drop dead gorgeous. She's a phenomenal actress. I don't blame her at all for Maggie's part. I feel like that was the writing on Grace who kind of turned us a little bit against Maggie. I don't blame Kelly at all. I think she portrayed Maggie brilliantly. I really do.
If I was Kelly and this is the only bit of material I've been given all these years, I'd want to leave too. So
exactly. I think she can go on and do amazing things. And I can't wait to see what she does next, to be honest. But we kind of, at the end of the day, we see Mika and Simone and Jules and Blue all hanging out at the house, which again, I'm loving these little old school house little parties that they're doing that the original Magic team did. But I also like seeing Blue kind of being a little bit more silly and human and not so uptight like he is all the time.
They have to, I mean, they could not keep him the way that he was the very first time we met him. I was like, they have to do something about this character, or he's going to be very unlikable very, very fast. And that is always really hard to recover from. So luckily, they are making him be a bit more than how he is at the hospital, at least.
Yep. All right. So next week's going to be a 2-part event. It looks Addison's coming, which it's always a good episode when Addison comes. It looks like we have some new people, though. They're from the women's clinic, I'm guessing. That's what it seems like.
It looks like we're going to be seeing a lot of the women's clinic. So it looks like maybe they have some visiting doctors to help out.
Maybe they're like Addison's residents or something.
Maybe.
Who knows? So there's other people there, but it looks like Blue gets hurt. Amelia's running. Addison's crying. There's picketers. Bailey's going insane. This looks like it's going to be a crazy episode, which I'm here for.
It's probably also going to be very sad. I'm prepared for that, but it's also going to be very exciting. Lots of action, it looks like.
I don't know if I'm really that scared about this one. I just don't know who they could really like tear me up about at this point. I love a lot of the characters, but at the same time, they're all kind of new. Like, I don't think anything, unless something happened to like one of our OG people, which it doesn't look like it's going to be. Who knows though? They'll have to fool us. I don't know. I'm getting more nervous the more I'm talking about it and thinking about it. I'm getting more nervous. Like, no, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be good. We're all good.
It'll be okay. Don't worry.
Because I'm hyperventilating in Grace. We're good. We're good. We're good. Everything's good.
Big glass of wine for next week.
We're gonna be fine. Addison cries all the time, right? Yeah. No, she really doesn't.
Right, the last time she was on. So
oh yeah, see, she's fine. We're fine. We're good.
It'll be good. Don't worry.
I'm just like, the only thing that makes me nervous is Addison's only gonna cry for somebody like an OG, right?
Well, she also cries when she gets frustrated, so I don't know.
Or scared. Yeah, that's true. She is a mad crier. But that looked like a sad cry. That looked like a scared, sad cry. I don't know. Okay. So next week, we will be back. I think that's all we have for tonight. We've talked in depth about Station 19 and Grey's actually this week. Don't forget to check out our socials and our Facebook group, Grey's Anatomy Grey Family Fan Club. Tune in next week for more episodes. Sundays are our Fox night where we talk about 911 Lone Star and 911 OG. Tuesday is our NBC night where we discuss all 3 Chicago shows when they decide to air. And Wednesday nights are ABC nights where we dig into Grey's Anatomy and Station 19. So we will see you real soon. Bye.
Bye.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.